What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Eurostep Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I am your host, Numac, coming to you guys with a preview of the Packers Cardinals battle down in the desert in Phoenix, Arizona. Packers are doing a brief snowbird earlier in the season. There's not even snow on the ground yet, and they're making their way to Fountain Hills, Arizona. Uh, to talk about all this game and more with me is my lovely co-host Jordan Tresky. Jordan, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. I'm good. We're gonna talk Arizona. I don't know why I said it like that.
If you were to guess what the dominant feature in Fountain Hills, Arizona is, what would you think it would be?
I'm gonna guess it's not a fountain.
It is a big fountain.
Oh, I was gonna guess a hill.
No, they have a large
Is it a
man-made.
hills of fountains?
It's amongst the hills. It's amongst the foothills of the Rockies out there.
Hmm.
No, they have a man-made lake in the middle of the city that has a giant fountain that shoots quite far in the air.
Well, naturally, I have to ask this question.
It's not the one that Keith posted in the Discord.
No. Is Can you throw a football over them fountains over there?
Over them there mountains.
No, fountains.
Over the fountain. You probably could if you're like if you have a good enough arm. Like us
Hmm.
normal people couldn't, but like Jordan Love probably could.
Yeah, I think he could. I
Anthony
think
Anthony Richardson in his all of his cannon of an arm, his only football talent,
he
could
could throw a
definitely
lap
throw.
band over there.
He could fire. Yeah, he definitely could.
He could throw a lap band like he's what is it? You throw it.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you.
I can't
I'll,
think of it.
I'll let you drown here.
What is the game? You throw it and you got
Whack a
like a
mole.
hoop?
Whack a mole.
No, it is not.
Bags.
It's kind of, but like you
Ladder
throw
golf.
it. It's like a fair game.
Ladder golf.
It's not ladder golf.
Can jam.
That is somewhat closer.
I was telling us to people at work
Whatever.
today. That's my favorite. That's my favorite activity. Is just to rage bait people when they're trying to think of something like
Yeah.
this.
Just inundate the senses with
It-
like,
exactly. It's so much fun. Anyways,
which
let's
is
talk.
what Jeff Halfley's going to do against whoever is under center for the Arizona Cardinals.
Sir, we haven't gone past the Packers Bengals matchup yet because we have some cheeses to give out. So quit teasing the people. We got to hand out some cheeses. Uh, 8 candidates this week, if I can do my quick math right. None of them are really overwhelming besides the first one. So Jordan and I have to have a conversation about who we're giving the cheeses to this week. First up is Josh Jacobs, 18 carries for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns, including 5 catches for 57 yards, totaling 150 yards on the day. Matthew Golden, 3 catches, 86 yards. Romeo Dobbs, 5 catches, 55 yards. Edgerrin Cooper, 11 tackles, 4 stops in the run game, according to PFF. Micah Parsons, 4 pressures, 2 tackles, and 2 stops. Rashawn Gary with 4 pressures and 2 hits on the QB. Warren Brinson, and I believe his first game this year, possibly his second.
Yes.
Yeah. Warren Brinson, 19 snaps, 2 pressures, and a 30% win rate on 10 pass rushes. And Lucas Havrisik, 3 extra points, 2 field goals, including good from 43 and 39. Jordan, the only surefire lock is one Josh Jacobs.
Correct.
Do you have any strong opinions on the second and third recipients of some cheese
I'm
this week?
I'm gonna do it. Let's give cheese to Lucas Havrisik.
I was thinking the same thing.
Come on, he signed on Saturday.
Yeah.
Got into town, I believe, the day before.
Off the street, the day before, he was wrangling kids in the Cleveland elementary school system.
Yes. Well, he aspires to be a substitute teacher.
He aspires to wrangle kids in the Cleveland elementary school system.
I don't know if he was in the classroom per se.
What else
At,
would he be doing?
well, I'm just saying I don't know. He aspires to be it.
Oh, I
But I
see
don't
what
know
you're
if he
saying.
was. You know what I mean?
He was
But
lurking.
he's like, yeah, he was kicking. He's kicking the football through the uprights. Which
All
is
day
what the
Sunday.
Packers expected. Yeah, and we're gonna see it again this week. Not to foreshadow, but that's a cheese in my book.
Okay.
And if we're gonna play this game, he did kind of help separate the Packers and put out the smoke with a fire extinguisher of a leg with his deciding kick.
For sure. So, all right, Lucas, you've earned yourself a cheese. Equal amount of cheeses versus games played for the Packers. Congratulations. Um, last one. Who do I give it to? If we're calling it the breakout game, I'm down to give it to Matthew Golden.
So he clearly pops on the eye. I mean, 102
Total
total yards
yards.
of scrimmage,
Yep.
pop plays. He says. Um, I You know what? Let's do it. I don't care. I don't care. This is our own thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who people like to listen to this? It creates discussion. But like, my initial thought was actually Edrin Cooper, who I thought played quite a very good game. Um, but again, he's kind of someone that I have high expectations for. Matthew Golden, on the other hand, is someone who's literally laying down the foundation of what we are supposed to expect from him, and in an offense that has plenty of mouths to feed, so to speak. When he's getting his number called and making explosive plays,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna. It's hard not to shine a light on all that.
Oh, for sure. For sure. All right, Matthew Golden. Congratulations on your first cheese of the year. Hopefully, there are many, many more to come.
Welcome to the NFL, Rook.
So, alrighty, some news and notes this week as we move on to the preview up to the Cardinals game. There's been lots of talk about the Packers' second half issues, especially on defense. Rob Dombrowski wrote a piece as such earlier in the week, talking about how the run differential in the during the first half is pretty stellar, and the second half it's not so good. Um, I mean that kind of goes into what we've always like what we've said the past three-ish weeks, right? That they just can't put together four straight quarters. Like they even like the first and second week against the Lions and the Commanders, they played good games, but they didn't play whole games. And now in their since the Browns game, really, they just haven't put it together in the second half, and arguably looked bad in some instances in the second half of games on either side of the ball. Like the defense was good most of the Browns game except for those last 3 minutes, and then they were really good in the first quarter against Dallas, and then they kind of fell off for the next three quarters. And so it's kind of this trend of not being able to put it all together all at once. And I think like the coaches are obviously noticing that, and it's kind of come to not come to a head per se. 'Cause that makes it sound like that everything's blowing up, but they're just trying to figure out why why this is happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think to add to this point, Matt Schneidman, um, he posted Monday, I believe, that the Packers are the only team to have a double digit leads in every game they've played so far. And if you had listened to our last episode of Talk with the Tundra, we've talked plenty about how games have felt very similar. Like it's kind of Packers are getting out to early leads, and then it's not just a job of maintaining them; it's putting your foot on their throat and kind of just eliminating any possible threat that the opposing team is going to come back in the game. We've seen that slip up in every game, some worse than others. Obviously, Cleveland and Dallas come to mind. But this is a team that has staked their claim early, gotten out to early leads, and you could call it putting their foot off the gas. I mean that they're I don't know. It's not a deliberate choice. I think whether you look at the play calling or anything like that, like I'm not saying from that perspective. I think they are just playing the same kind of way, and that not to echo my point from the previous podcast, but we just have not seen this team play when the chips are not exactly in their favor. The examples that you could probably counter that point with are being down however many seconds left. I mean, they weren't even down when they were going to be tied with the Browns late in that game, very late in that game, and finishing out in overtime against Dallas. Like I don't like this is just a weird circumstances that have forced their hand to kind of play with a little bit more urgency and go to their best plays. So yeah, this is just kind of it's not a front running team, but they just have not been tested to deviate from how they've started so far.
Right. The the Matt Schneidman piece that you said is crazy.
Yeah.
Just a wild stat. From Rob Domboski's article talking about just like what's going on in the over the course of the games. This is again from Rob Domboski. And their opponents' past 12 possessions in the second half or overtime, starting with the middle of the fourth quarter against the Browns in Week 3. The Packers defense has allowed 6 touchdowns, 4 field goals, and 1 missed field goal while only forcing 1 punt. Um, and if you indulge Matt LaFleur, when he mentions in a quote, says, well, Cleveland, let's be honest here, they're inside the 10-yard line or maybe inside the 5, so it's really been the last 2 games. If you indulge him, it's 5 touchdowns, 2 field goals, and a missed field goal. And so he had this to say, quote, we were just like, why is this happening? Are we running out of gas? Obviously, they got the ball to start the second half. They go on that 18-play drive or whatever it was, ate up damn near 10 minutes of the clock. I don't know. Does that gas you out? Does that make you more tired? Do we need to roll more guys in the first half? That's in context of the Bengals um, game and how they came out of the second half with that very long drive. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops throughout the season. But I do think that it's an interesting talking point that's kind of making its way around Packers media sphere right now because like clearly the reporters are noticing it, and I'm guessing if they're noticing it and writing about it, it's something they're talking about with the coaches before they even have their formal interviews for this article.
Yeah. I agree completely.
In other news and notes, Christian Watson is continuing his ramp up during his 21-day practice window. I don't think there was like a definitive yes or no today if Christian Watson would.
It was a we'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know there was an update, so a solid we'll see from the Packers on if Christian Watson plays this week. I don't know what to say about that because it's been quick. We've said this last week that it's been really fast for him to come back. So if he does play, I hope he gets a couple snaps in, looks good, gets a pass or two thrown his way. If he doesn't, I'll be happy to see him come back against the Steelers. I actually wouldn't like in the context of because his first game back can be the Steelers game, right? Or his
It would be the last game in which I think it's literally the last day that his window would be open to return.
so he could possibly not play in that game.
No, well, if they don't play him, then I'm
He'll
assuming
play
I
the
don't know
next
what that
week,
means.
right?
Well, I'm not the greatest with the 21-day window part. Do
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if he doesn't play within that window, so then does it reset? Does he go back?
No,
Like,
if it doesn't, he has to go on like season-ending IR. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, so he would have to play the Steelers game then.
Okay, so I personally would like him to see play him this week then, for the sole purpose of the Steelers defense is really good, and I wouldn't want to send him out there against them. Steelers defense also not the most, I'll say, ethical defense there's ever been. There's a lot of talk about injuries that happen at the hands of Steelers defenders, and not just like
And also, I mean, wasn't there a report from this earlier this week by Adam Schefter talking about the field conditions of Acrisure Field? And
correct.
I wouldn't necessarily want Christian Watson to play on that, but
No.
it's going to happen if he's playing this week and then possibly next week. Like, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. It's ultimately about how strong they feel that he's ready to go back on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it, I, what's going to be the determining factor? It's it's like what we said last week when it was starting to ramp up. they we knew that it was probably a long shot that he was going to be cleared. Now you're again facing this again. You're gonna have to face it next week if he doesn't play this week. So we'll see. It's literally what Matt LaFleur said.
Um, doing some quick looking. His Christian Watson's practice window ends on October 27th, which is a Monday. So I
Which
think,
would be the day after, right?
yeah. So he doesn't have to play the Steelers game. He just has to be activated to the roster on by that Monday.
Ah, that's okay. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, we'll see. Like you said, um how that will go. But yeah, I'm still nervous, but excited to see him back and to see how he looks. So um other news: Packers offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich says that Jordan Morgan will start at right guard on Sunday, and we'll have another rotation with Sean Ryan throughout the game. Uh, Jordan Morgan had 50 snaps on Sunday against the Bengals versus Sean Ryan's just 11. I'm happy that he's getting consistent snaps. Like, hopefully, this kind of sets the bar for him to just have a spot on the line and improve at that spot on the line. It hasn't been good to bounce him around. We talked about that earlier in the season when he just looked lost at multiple positions. And so hopefully this is the health on the line sustains and they don't have to uh, keep shuffling him around and that's just his spot for the rest of the year.
I don't think it serves him well. I don't think it serves the offensive line well. I think it's not necessarily a coincidence that he's one of five guys on the line, but we saw Josh Jacobs' most productive rushing day, and there was some consistency there. Maybe stick with it. Like I get the rotation idea, and there were times where it worked last year, but in
Mm-hmm.
terms of what you want out of your offensive line and the injuries that have already plagued this starting five, like there's just a lot of coverage that you already have to do. Don't react to that by confusing that even more. You know what I mean? That's just kind of like where I'm steadily coming to as the season goes along.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And like we'll talk about it on the injury report, but like I'm not thrilled on the whole Zach Tom situation, especially with Anthony Belton out.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
the Zach Tom situation is very concerning as like a fan and a person rooting for Zach Tom. They Matt LaFleur said either in Wednesday's comments or Thursday's comments to the media. It was Wednesday. I
I
think
believe it was today.
whenever it was.
He might have said both. It might have happened both days.
I typed in our Discord just screaming. It was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
This is from Matt Schneidman from yesterday. LaFleur says he doesn't anticipate Zach Tom practicing on Wednesday, but said Tom is feeling better than he did immediately after Sunday's game. Tom said he normally remembers everything from a game, but he didn't on Sunday since his oblique pain was so significant. Ty, I'm sorry. A motherfucker was blacking out because of his pain in his oblique. Why is he playing? It's not malpractice because like that's a legitimate thing when it comes to injuries for a player. It's awful to do this for his own health. Like you have to protect the player from themselves. This is one of those cases. We've already seen him come out of
That's
a game against the Browns on the first snap when he shouldn't have been playing after he injured his oblique in game one against the Lions, misses game two against the Commanders, comes back for one snap against the Browns, and then I don't think he played in Dallas. I forget if he did,
I
then
don't think he did.
then bye week comes back and plays against Cincinnati and clearly looks worse for wear. He's not his regular near all pro self, and he's not remembering anything from the game because he's in so much pain. Like this is just a classic case of shut the man down, throw him on IR for 4 weeks, and hope you can get by until he comes back. Because I don't think he'd be playing if Anthony Belton was healthy.
No, I
You know what I mean? Like if Anthony
yeah.
Belton's healthy, they have a backup at right tackle and they don't need to
Well, they
throw
they
Zach
they
Tom
already
there.
do. They have Kennard, who did start for him
But
in
they
Dallas.
must not trust Kennard.
Yeah, well, clearly, but
Like
it is
clearly,
just like it's very the talk of like the Packers medical staff being notoriously conservative when it comes to handling returns from injuries.
right?
Like I feel like we have really they have turned it up to 11 in terms of like, yeah, Christian Watson's back. Um, Zach Thomas playing with an oblique injury. What's another one that was like a kind of a weird.
I mean, I mean, Brandon McManus. Like they can't decide if he's hurt or not.
Yeah, I mean that feels more like the Packers of old, but it does
Right.
feel like they have kind of I don't know pushed
I mean, Warren Brinson
further
came
ahead.
back without like that was a surprise to me.
Did he have an injury?
Brinson? Yeah, he was hurt. I'm like, because I think he
I
got.
thought he was just I think they just made him inactive.
I thought he was hurt week one. He walked off the
No,
field.
he hadn't played any game. They didn't make him active at all.
I thought he hurt his knee. Am I not? Am I?
He tweaking.
I might be tweaking. I could have swore he hurt his
Sounds
knee.
like we got another person not remembering a Packer game.
Apparently. Uh yeah, I guess I was wrong. I must have been thinking of Colin Oliver, who's like soon to return, allegedly.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I I'm surprised. I could have swore. Oh, you know what it was? It was Baron Sorrell. That's what.
Oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I
That's
was
what.
like, there is someone that
I was
yeah,
like, I
Darren Till.
was losing my mind. I was
Yeah,
like, someone got hurt. Somebody got hurt.
it was a
Regardless.
rookie.
Anyways.
But yeah,
It's
they're
just
just
not good.
more aggressive.
Yeah, and I don't mind them being a little more aggressive, I guess, but like there's a time and a place for it, and you're oft injured wide receiver coming back from an ACL injury, and you're all pro right tackle who has literally a torn oblique. I don't think are like the two places for it. And I don't know when the right places would be. I'm not a medical professional. Rohan's not here. Like we, I just I don't know how to take all of this. I just know that it feels wrong in my gut.
Yeah, I mean, we are literally seeing the what hopes to be a season's worth of
Right.
see a man and his level of pain tolerance. That is just kind of this.
Which is an awful place to be because we already had the bye. Like he's not gonna get a week off naturally
No,
for the rest of the season. So like part of me thinks that you just let him rest this week and see if he can be ready for the Steelers game. And if he can't, so be it. But then like you just kind of have to make do against T.J. Watt and company against the Steelers, and then sit against the Panthers to come back for the second half of the season against tougher opponents with better defensive lines. Like I'm not so afraid of the Cardinals and Panthers defense. The Steelers one's good, but like I'll make do kind of thing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't have to worry about the Steelers in a playoff race versus I don't have to worry about the Panthers and the Cardinals either.
Hey,
What?
watch out for those Panthers.
Yeah, they're meowing at me.
Trace and Trace.
Yeah, they're meowing at me. Uh, but like it's NFC opponent, right? Like that's a tiebreaker.
Yeah,
It's like a sixth tiebreaker, but like it matters more than the game against the Steelers in the context of a playoff race.
yeah,
Of course, you want to win all those games, obviously, but you also want to make sure you have your best players healthy for when it matters in 3 months.
absolutely.
So, alrighty, let's get into this Packers Cardinals game. A little bit of history of the two teams. Packers are 48, 24, and 4 against the Cardinals in franchise history, including 9 and 5 since the Cardinals moved to Arizona, uh, and became the. What is this?
Packers. So the Packers dope sheet. They were wrong.
I was gonna say it doesn't seem right.
They were 9-3. They put it as 9-3 against the Arizona Cardinals. No, 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 no. They when they moved to Phoenix, they were called the Phoenix Cardinals.
When
That's
was
what I
this?
remember growing up.
Oh,
That's
like
when they played
forever
at like
ago.
when they played in Sun Life Stadium.
That wasn't meant to
At
be a meant
I
to be
know,
a a diss.
I know, but that was what I remember calling them, and
Is
then
Sun Life Stadium when Josh McCown threw that pass to the man in the corner of the end zone and ended the Viking season?
Nathan Poole, baby.
Nathan Poole. I was at the Packers game when that happened.
Yep, give him a key to the city. They did.
The Packers did?
Yes. No,
That's
Green Bay.
well, the Green Bay gave Nathan Poole key to the city.
Yeah,
That's so funny. I did not know that.
yeah. I top 10 sports moment.
Okay.
But yeah, so they said 9-3 against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm calling dope.
God. The Packers have won their last two games, including a 34-13 Week 6 win last year. Um, if you can believe it, folks, the Packers injury report for this game is lengthy. The only good news is that the Cardinals injury report is equally lengthy.
Mm,
So please bear with
that's what
me
I
as
believe
I
too.
talk through about 30 names. Packers
Jesus.
guard Aaron Banks has a groin and knee injury still. He was limited in practice. Anthony Belton with his ankle injury was limited in practice. Warren Brinson has an abdomen and neck injury. He is a full participant in both practices. Javon Bullard was in concussion eval. He was a full participant on Wednesday, and it came out after the fact that it was not a concussion. It was rather a stinger, and he is off the injury report. Matthew Golden has a shoulder injury. He was a full participant in practice both days. Josh Jacobs is sick. He was limited in practice both days. Brandon McManus was a DMP both days with his right quadricep still. Jordan Morgan has a knee injury. He is limited in practice both days. Zach Tom has an oblique as well as a back injury now. He was a DMP on Wednesday and was upgraded to a limited participant on Thursday. Lucas Van Ness has a foot injury. He was a DMP both days, which is not great. Christian Watson limited in both practices as he comes back. Dontavian Wicks has an ankle injury that he suffered in the first half of the game um, on Sunday. He is limited in both practices, and Devontae Wyatt is still out with his knee injury as a DNP both days. For the Arizona Cardinals, offensive lineman, never mind, that was a rest. That's rest. I wish they wouldn't list rest at the top. I know it's in alphabetical order, but like, let me just put them all at the bottom. The first real injury, Katon Crawford is a safety for the Cardinals. He was a DNP on Thursday after being limited on Wednesday, which was their walkthrough, with an ankle injury. Akeem Davis Gaither, a linebacker for them, was a full participant after being limited on Wednesday with a foot injury. Running back Amari DiMercado has a ankle injury as well as a ego issue. He was a DNP both Wednesday and Thursday. The joke is that he dropped the ball in their second to last game and promptly was scolded at, lost on that game. Uh, Cornerback Darren Hall has a quad injury. He was limited both days. Star upcoming wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. has a concussion. He was limited both days. Wide receiver Zay Jones did not practice either day with a knee injury. Running back Zonovan Knight has a knee injury. He was a full participant on Thursday after being predicted as limited on Wednesday. Star QB Kyler Murray has a foot injury. He was limited on Wednesday and Thursday, a foot injury that kept him out of Sunday's game, and Jacoby Brissett was instead starting for them. We'll talk about that in a minute. I believe rookie, correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan Walter Nolan has a calf injury. Uh,
Yes, you're correct.
yeah, limited participant in practice both days. Interior defensive lineman Darius Robinson has a pec injury. He was limited both days. And then listed on the injury report, but full participants in practice are Dadrian Tyler Demerson with an ankle injury as a safety for them, and wide receiver Michael Wilson with a foot injury. So, and breathe. A lot of
Thank you
injuries.
for your dissertation
Yeah,
on the pack.
yeah, it's long. It's really long for both teams. Both these teams are kind of hobbling into this week. Um, and
We'll
so
say.
it'll be a war of attrition for both of these teams as we figure out who's going to play and who's not. So let's hop right into the story of this game, and something that Matt LaFleur talked about this week during his media availability is who is going to play quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. Is it going to be star quarterback and avid Call of Duty player Kyler Murray? Worth noting that Battlefield 6 just came out this week. Um, or is Jacoby Brissett going to play for them and improve on his performance on Sunday, where he went 27 of 44, 320 passing yards, 2 TDs, and an interception. So, Matt LaFleur commented on this week that having to prepare for two different types of QBs is putting a lot more on the defense's plate this week because um, Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett are two different types of quarterback. Jacoby Brissett is much more of a pocket passer. Just will stand in there, is not going to scramble very much, while Kyler Murray has a decent enough arm to make you to pay deep, but also can extend plays with his legs, running the ball. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Kyler Murray is their top rusher this season. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. I'll double.
That is a good question.
Why don't you double check that? Because I'm like 95% sure
I
he
got you.
is. Um, for context, for scrambling, which is something we've always talked about that has kind of give Packers defenses problems. Um, just this year, Kyler Murray has 148 yards while scrambling on 17 attempts. He has 28 yards on designed runs. This is according to PFF. Uh, Jacoby Brissett in his best year, which was the 2019 Colts year when he started for them that year, had 202 yards on scrambles and 26 design runs. And then back in 2022, when he was the Cleveland starter for a good chunk of that season, he had 199 scramble yards. Um, and so, not the most like he can scramble, but it's not what he does best. And but like nowadays, he's just a pure pocket passer. And he's like very much an okay backup. Like he's bounced around the league a few times now. He had
He's in that commercial.
the progressive one.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a good commercial. Along with the your arch nemesis is in those
Yeah. When I
commercials.
saw that, I just wanted to throttle him.
To Tommy DeVito's. We're talking about people.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a
Not no
meatball
longer
at
in
the
the
TV.
NFL, Tommy DeVito,
Yeah.
but on that progressive
What a
commercial.
shock.
Um,
Sorry.
but drafted in 2016 by the Patriots, he had a few snaps that year when Brady was down with some injuries.
I think that was a suspension year.
I think you're right. I think you're yep. But then the Colts traded for him, and then he had like 4 years with the Colts, and then he was in Miami a year, and then Cleveland, Washington, New England, and now Arizona this year. So he bounces around. Um, like I said last week, he went. Let's see. I can't find that's. I already said it. It doesn't matter. 27 or 44 for 320. Like he's not bad. Like I won't call him bad, but he's not so like good either. He's not a guy I am necessarily afraid of, but he's definitely a guy that can dink and dunk your way to a win, right? Like at 320 is not dink and dunk, but it's also
No.
like he's pushing the ball down the field. I'm trying to pull the box score because he did do that against a Colts defense in Indianapolis, and the Colts are pretty darn good this year. And so I'm trying to see if he has a long. There's a lot of like big chunk plays by receivers this week. Zay Jones had a long of 24. Trey McBride had a long of 26. Michael Wilson had a long of 30. Elijah Higgins 24. Marvin Harrison 21. Michael Carter 16. Bam Knight, who was Zonovan Knight 20. Like those are some pretty decent chunk plays. So I'll be curious to see like how this offense functions if Jacoby Brissett plays. If they are going to take everything underneath that the Packers defense has been allowing teams to do all year long, or if they're going to test Xavier McKinney and company deep to get these shots open down the field or over the middle if they can scheme them open.
You are correct. Kyler Murray is the Cardinals' leading rusher, in part because of James Conner going down with an
Yeah,
injury.
they've been decimated at running
Trey
back.
Benson also is on IR. Amari DiMarcado was at the goal line, just got there and dropped the ball.
Yeah, and
Um,
he is also injured.
yes, he is also injured.
Yeah,
No, I think this is. It's funny because it's like I remember listening to podcasts from last year's NFL season and just the talk of what Brissett was on New England, right? And he gets replaced. Drake May comes in. starts to kind of show the flashes of a promising young rookie quarterback that is now blossoming into a superstar second year quarterback. And I think everybody just kind of naturally thought, oh, this is just he's a. It's not that Jacoby Brissett Brissett is a just a backup quarterback, but it's like, oh, he's actually kind of like hitting a ceiling. I'm like, this is he's not even productive when you need to be in a pinch. Then last week happens, and it's a game that they lost Marvin Harrison to. Like, talk about a maligned uh, player to say the least. But the fact that he was so effective, the fact that the Cardinals gave the Colts more than they thought they're getting going into that game, certainly speaks of the game plan and just kind of like how it looks different when he's under center versus Kyler Murray. It also just could be the plays that the targets are making, like Trey McBride, top 3 tight end in the league. That might be something that's short too. Um, and they have some interesting wide receivers. Like they're not number ones, but Michael Wilson's been productive, even though he's on the injury report. Greg Dortch, the human Dortch. Um, I don't know. There's something there. I don't think it's. I think it's the scare factor. Obviously, would more align with Kyler Murray in that he can do dynamic plays, but the fact that the Cardinals' offense looked as good, if not better, with Jacoby Brissett doing really good things and almost leaving Indianapolis with a win last week. I don't know, like that. It's a tough. It's certainly tough to prepare for two different game plans when
Mm-hmm.
they are so stylistically different.
They are, and so that's part of the issue. And I worry about getting burned by Kyler per se. I think they can handle Jacoby Brissett if it ends up being him, but I worry about how they fare against a mobile quarterback if they prepare for a pocket passer most of the week. How does that change how they rush the passer? How does that change coverages when they ask Edgerrin Cooper or Quay Walker to spy on Kyler Murray to keep him in check? All those kind of things. Because like scrambling Kyler Murray is a fast guy. Like
They
he
and
can
they
burn you.
they did see him last year.
Yep, and they held them in check, and it's like it's most the same guys, right? Like not too many besides Michael Parsons. This is kind of the same defense,
Yeah,
and so well, if they have the game plan laid out right, like it's never the same team you're facing, obviously, but I think it is a challenge, as we said. So I think that'll be an interesting match, like development to monitor over the next 2 days as you're listening to this. So let's move on. Fourth quarter woes. We kind of touched on this earlier. Um, this is from Rob Dombrowski again. Over the past 3 games, the Packers have had allowed 18.3 points per game after halftime, the second most behind the Ravens. And counting only fourth quarters and overtime, the Packers' 13 points per game allowed is the most in the NFL. Yet overall, the Packers rank 10th in the fewest points allowed per game at 20.4. Meanwhile, Arizona has a negative 36 score differential in fourth quarters this season, which is the worst mark of all NFL teams, which is also why they have one loss to the Tennessee Titans this year, as they allow the Titans to come back in the fourth quarter of that game. So, interesting all around is how I'll say. Like it's kind of like a movable object meets a stoppable force when it comes to these things. Like you kind of have a defense that's been getting, we'll say, gassed into the fourth quarter, versus an offense that can't keep the momentum the entire game. How does that shake out? I think I'm going to hedge my bets that the defense will win out on this one, just because I think there's better players on this defense than Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Kyler Murray when they're all healthy. Trey McBride is like the best of their offense, but I think like
yes,
Xavier McKinney, Micah Parsons, Quay Walker, and Edgerrin Cooper can all handle Trey McBride if need be. It'll be a matter of keeping those other ancillary guys in check and not letting Michael Wilson beat you of all people.
yeah. I mean that Arizona stat is certainly helped by the fact that they endured through one of the worst collapses I've seen in my life, and it's still even though the Titans won that game, they lost the next week and they fired their head coach, so it didn't ultimately matter. Um, I don't like again. It's your point of McBride. He's probably gonna be the best tight end the Packers face this year. He's that good and that productive, and it does the difference between a mobile quarterback who really likes Trey McBride versus a pocket passer who really likes Trey McBride changes how you defend him and how not just the QB spy element if you do play against Kyler Murray, but that it takes away what Xavier McKinney is going to be doing. Like this might be a game where we do see a lot more Xavier McKinney in terms of making open field tackles, kind of being in position to take away routes from Trey McBride because I think that's just what Jeff Hadley's going to have to dial up. Like take away the middle of the field. You have a really good player that's capable of doing that at the top end of your secondary. So I don't know that's my little 2 cents there, but yeah, it's interesting to see both these teams come in with one with a better record than the
Mm-hmm.
other by far, but
I
they're
I wouldn't say by far.
yeah,
They have one. They have one win more than the Cardinals.
yeah, but I don't. I think Arizona's not that good.
I don't think they are either, but I think they are a feisty team. I don't think they should sleep on this team. That's all I'll say. That
No,
they
no,
are the
there
fourth
it's
quarter collapse away from being 3-3, and they are a pretty good way close to winning that Colts game to being 4-2. Like the breaks of the game are the way they are. Like that's just how football goes. The Packers should be 5-0, right? But they're not.
yeah.
They're 3-1. The Cardinals probably have a good argument to be 4-2, and they're not. I mean, what? The Cardinals haven't lost the games they lost this year by a
They
lot.
lost by 9 points
Yeah, they lost on
total.
a at the buzzer field goal to the Niners. They lost on an at the buzzer field goal to the Seahawks. The fourth quarter collapse against the Titans, and the almost win against the Colts. Like the only two teams they've beat are the Saints and the Panthers, which aren't two good teams in the first place. But like
And they didn't beat them overwhelmingly either.
no, but they've also played the Niners, the Seahawks, and the Colts, all teams with I think collectively 3 losses together.
Yeah.
They lost to them by 9 total points. 10, 4, 7, 1, 8. So yeah, I don't want them to sleep on this team because if Kyler Murray plays, if Kyler Murray plays and if Marvin Harrison plays, I think Zonovan Knight had a good game last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Bam.
Bam Knight. I think he
So their
had
favorite
a
chef is
Emerald Lagasse.
no Gordon Ramsay.
I don't. I will fight you. He had 11 carries for 34 yards and a touchdown. Michael Carter had 9 carries, 34 carries as well. So there'll probably be a split backfield there. But the run game isn't scary, and so they're probably going to need to air out the ball. And so as we said, Jacoby Brissett can do that. And if Kyler Murray plays, he'll be the guy running the ball on designed runs and things like that. So I'm I don't think this team is bad. I think they are, I'll say, unlucky right now, just because like the way the game shook out in their first few losses. Like Kyler Murray not playing sucks for them because he's only missed the one game so far, I believe, and part of the Titans game. I think is when Kyler. I don't think Kyler came out of that game. I forget, but that's 3 straight losses in a row where they probably should win, and they're gonna have to make sure they don't fall asleep on this team on the road on a team that's hungry to win. Like the NFC West is a bloodbath. There's 3 teams at 4-2, and there's and Arizona at 2-4. If they want to keep pace in this division that is definitely up for grabs, that's probably going to cannibalize itself over the end of the season. They got to win, and so to get back on like the point, the Packers need to close this game out when it comes to the fourth quarter. If the Packers go in the fourth quarter with a lead and are up by a touchdown or 10 points or so, like they need to make sure that the defense locks in and that the offense doesn't stall out like it has been.
Yeah, yes, a complete game. Whether I was gonna make a baseball reference, but this is not the time.
No, it's not, actually.
I'm sorry. But yeah, we need to see a complete game. This would be a hell of a time to see the Packers kind of break loose of the flaws that are coming to the surface and put forth a dominant performance that we feel like they are capable of doing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, moving on, let's talk a little bit about the offense. The Packers are really good. I should say Jordan Love is really good at throwing the ball down the field this year. He's had a good efficiency while doing so. 25 of 45 on passes that are 10 yards or more for 581 yards and 4 touchdowns, along with a 130.1 passer rating to boot. The Cardinals' defense, meanwhile, has yielded the fifth lowest passer rating to opposing QBs at 64.5% when targeting downfield. So, this will be an interesting thing to watch as the Packers' offense has kind of been feast or famine this past 5 games. I was listening to the Athletic Football Show this week, and what they were pleading from the Packers to do is not get bored on offense and to take what defenses give you. And I wish I could have reached through my phone and shook Robert Mace's hand for saying that, because like that's exactly in a one sentence to sum up how I feel about the Packers offense. Is that take what the defense gives you and don't get bored with being simple, essentially. Like they just they it feels like they just like they want to do something cool and then they stall drives because of it. And so if the Cardinals defense is going to give you the underneath stuff all day long, go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take it. Like if you want to try and throw deep a couple of times this game, go for it, sure. But you don't need to have the explosive plays that this defense or this offense has been come to be known for if you don't have to do it and you can march down the field and score that way. Like I'd rather them take more time off the clock and limit the Cardinals' possessions and score touchdowns on 10 play drives than to needlessly throw the ball down the field if it's not the time and place for it. Like if they can find Matthew Golden on a go route to get open, sure, take that shot. But which I'm sure is like obviously what they're doing anyways, but I don't want them to be forcing it down the field because that's how they get most of their offense if they don't have to, considering the stats say that the Cardinals defense is pretty darn good deep.
Well, I was gonna say too, like I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think we would say the best offensive performance was last week because it still wasn't like I don't know. That's a separate question, but I do think last week is more so the tempo and way that they want to play. It was just a shame that the opening drive got wiped out because of Jordan Love's biggest error of the day. But if you think about it, like Josh Jacobs looked really good on the ground. Like the blocking was got better as the game went along. They had the chunk plays, they had the explosive plays. They were getting the ball to different weapons on the field. Jordan Love's game out if you throw away that interception and a couple other throws that were in danger. Like again, a B plus A minus level game. That's kind of what we expect, you know. Uh, so I think that's if we see a game managed like that between the offense, I think by and large we could see the points on the board. But it's just a matter of it's not going to look overwhelming if you can marry that with a defensive performance that is locked in for 4 quarters or something close to it. Um, I don't know. It's just that symbiotic relationship between can both of these units look good at the same time rather than
Right.
you know you want it to be equal rather than one seesawing back to the other end that seesaws back to the other end.
To your point, like the Bengals game wasn't their best offensive output of the year. It was, especially like Jordan Love's. It was the Dallas game.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
in the Dallas game, I'm looking at this is next gen stats, their chart here. He has 9 passes past the 10-yard line in that game, including four. I'm sorry, 10. Did I say 9 or 10?
10.
Yeah, 10 passes past the 10-yard line. Um, 5 of which were complete. We went five for 10 past there, and like that's a Dallas defense that isn't good, right?
No.
Especially a secondary that isn't good. So they don't need to force it down the field. Like of those 10 passes that were beyond 10 yards, 8 of them were beyond 15 yards, and 5 of them were beyond 20. And so like they were really forcing it down the field against Dallas, more so because they had to keep up with how much Dallas was scoring in that game. And so if you don't need to do that, I just don't see the overall need, especially if like you can just march down the field. So I hope that's part of the game plan. Like especially well, if Christian Watson and Matthew Golden are in the game, I think you're going to see them push the ball down the field a little bit, like probably with good regularity,
Mm.
whether it's over the middle or goal balls, depending on who's open and who's playing which role. But that's like what we've kind of been griping about in that feast or famine nature. Like they run for 2 yards, run for a yard, 3rd and 7, chuck it down the field. We said it last year. DPI was their best play.
Yeah, I mean that would. Yeah. Yes.
So I don't want to
Better
invoke.
than drops.
Yeah, I don't want to invoke that play again. That playbook is fine and dandy, but I don't like watching it. So, uh, last topic to talk about per next gen stats. The Cardinals' right tackle Jonah Williams has allowed 4 sacks, the most amongst right tackles, and 27 pressures, the third most amongst right tackles. However, his average time to pressure is 3.56 seconds, the second longest amongst right tackles. Meaning, wide receivers aren't getting open for this this Cardinals team, and Kyler Murray and Jacoby Brissett are holding on to the ball longer and not getting rid of it when they need to. What does that mean for the Packers? It means I think we're going to see a lot of the same playbook that we've seen this year already. A lot of short throws underneath, getting the ball out of guys' hands quickly so that the pass rush can't wreak havoc on whoever is back there. Like that stat kind of like is just emblematic of what the Packers are having trouble doing this year, which is stop the short stuff underneath and get home in time for a sack that kind of kills a drive. Not a lot of teams are taking 5 step drops against the Packers and chucking it down the field just because they know they can't sit back there that long with Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, and Lucas Van Ness coming down their throat to really get a sack and kill a drive. And so I'm a little worried about that stat, Jordan. Like if Micah Parsons lines up against Jonah Williams, I think he'll take his lunch. But I also don't think he's going to have enough time um, to get there. And worth noting that Micah Parsons, during his media availability this week, went off about the refs holding, or about the went off about the refs not calling holding against him. So hopefully we see a couple more of those called this week because it has been egregious.
Matt LaFleur said too that he would be talking to the officials, giving them a strongly worded letter about how Micah Parsons has been officiated. Um, Next Gen Stats has this. The Colts pressured Jacoby Brissett on 48.9 of his dropbacks in Week 6, the highest pressure rate by the Colts in a game this season. I would venture to guess that's one of the highest in for any team this season. Jacoby Brissett completed just 6 of his 20 passes for 91 yards when under pressure. When not under pressure, he was 21 of 24 for 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Um, yeah, when it again, that's obviously a Jacoby Brissett specific stat, but there's a possibility that the Packers face him. I don't know if we would see the same level of all out blitzing if Kyler's under center and how Jeff Halfley wants to play defense, but you know, this is not a good. I feel like the rep for the Cardinals, even when they were good, like dating back to the Carson Palmer, Bruce Arian Larry Fitzgerald days. Like their offensive line was pretty. They focused heavily on skill players and weapons and quarterbacks. The nucleus in front of them was not necessarily strong enough to withstand pass rushes. So with a lackluster offensive line, who Jonah Williams once upon a time was one of the best offensive linemen when he was in Cincinnati, goes to Arizona, it's not been the same. Both it's funny how both parties have suffered in leaving and
Yeah,
not having him anymore. Like the Bengals miss having Jonah Williams, and Jonah Williams would probably admit that he misses being in Cincinnati to some degree.
right.
But yeah, this is again like we'll see what the big pass rushers can do, but what is Jeff Hafley going to do? Is he? It will be a big difference in who is under center and how he dials up pressures and tries to finish it in a different way than we've seen recently. So I don't know. I let's hope that there's pressures. Let's get there. Let's get there.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Couple of fun things to talk about and things we haven't touched on. Um, the Cardinals' defensive front is really good. Calais Campbell still kicking around at 37 years old. I'm pretty sure is how old he's like something like that. He's old, but he's playing very well still for the Cardinals. Uh, Josh Sweat's also on this team after they paid him in the offseason after he won the title with the Eagles. So he's having a year. Uh, Will Johnson, the rookie from Notre Dame that the Packers passed on, the cornerback, he's healthy and playing. Buda Baker's still on this team, and Max Melton, brother of Bo Melton, is starting for this team. So it'll be a fun like not game of narratives is like the wrong way to put it, but like it'd be fun just for funsies, like a snap to see Bo go against Max. That'd be fun just to see how it goes. But then the receivers are going to be challenged by the secondary. Like Will Johnson and Buda Baker are good. So maybe Max Melton's pretty good in of himself.
Yeah, he's ascending.
Um, and then how does this offensive line hold up against Calais Campbell inside and Josh Sweat off the edge? Like how does Rasheed Walker handle Josh Sweat? I don't think he was an impact player against the Packers last year in the two games they played them, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But either which way, there'll be a lot of matchups to watch this week. So with that, let's get into some players to watch, Jordan. Who are your players to watch this week for the for this game against the Cardinals?
For the record, Josh Sweat has 5 sacks through 6 games so far in Arizona.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Players to watch. I'm gonna go Arizona first. I'm gonna go Trey McBride. Like I said earlier, I think this will be the best tight end that the Packers face. I think it changes their game plan. Middle of the defense asks a lot of Dan McKinney. It certainly asks a lot of Edgerrin Cooper, Quay Walker. This is by that uh, fact. I think this is going to be a game where we're going to see a lot of base pass rushes. I don't think we'll see a lot of sending uh, more than 5, more than 6, because of you need to have the coverage there. You need to cover zones and limit big play opportunities for someone like I was supposed to say Trey Murphy, Trey McBride. Um, so yeah, I think this is. I don't want halfway to shell up because of how big of a threat Trey McBride is. I mean, we look at Dallas a couple of weeks ago. I know that they didn't have CeeDee Lamb, but Jake Ferguson kind of poses a similar profile of like how important Dak Prescott views the tight end position
Yeah.
and how important it is for both Brissett and Murray, whoever it is under center, how important Trey McBride is to everything. So, yeah, I think I really want to see. I'm both curious and fascinated by how the Packers will go into this and who will see the McBride assignment, but I'm also like terrified that it's just gonna be like, they shelled up again. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see that.
No. No, me neither. My Cardinal to watch is the Arizona is not the Arizona Cardinals is Calais Campbell. I was reading this. I didn't know he was drafted by the Cardinals back in 2008. Um, Calais Campbell, 39 years old, not 37. My apologies.
Mhm.
Um, but has 3 sacks on the season, including a handful of pressures in each game except for week one. Uh, he primarily lines up inside, sort of between the guards kind of thing. He does on the off chance go outside towards the tackle, but mostly inside. Um, gonna be a test for all three linemen that play inside there. Aaron Banks, Elton Jenkins, and Jordan Morgan. Three guys I don't necessarily have the most confidence in at the moment. Like Aaron Banks, hopefully he does well. Still has that injury designation, so hopefully he can keep up. EJ has been okay at center. Like I'm not worried.
Last week was better.
Right, last week was better, but like takes more than 1 week for me.
Yeah.
And then Jordan Morgan had a good week last week as well. Um, but still, like, can he handle a veteran like Calais Campbell, who's a master of his craft, kind of thing,
And huge.
and huge, 6'8", 282, which is insane.
Yeah.
that, that,
Just
that's a lean man.
yeah.
6'8", 282. So,
Insane.
yeah, it's insane. So yeah, Calais Campbell's my Cardinal to watch. Uh, my Packer to watch. I'm trying to think of who I want to pick on here. I'm not gonna say Keyshawn, even though he's an option, because if Marvin Harrison plays, I think that'd be a fun matchup. I'm actually stumped on a Packer. I'm trying to think of like a good matchup. I think I might just go Josh Jacobs for the sole purpose of want to see him continue to do what he's doing, because they've looked really good as he's been hot. So let's hope he stays hot, and in turn, which means the line is doing well, which is what I want to see. So yeah, I'll go Josh Jacobs.
I'm gonna go Xavier McKinney. Um, I could see the comments, and I feel like because I have push notifications for some Packers beat reporters, they've had to answer angry posts about why isn't Xavier McKinney in the game? Why isn't he making plays? It's whatever. I think this is a game that we will see him a lot, whether for good or bad, because of the Trey McBride. It's very closely aligned with Trey McBride, and can he take him out? Not literally, but can he guard him? And it's true. I'm not asking for a Jack Tatum level of. I don't think that's even the right guy. It doesn't matter. Um, but I just think he's gonna be on McBride watch, and can he maybe force turnovers? Can he make splash plays? Can he pass breakups? Like he's just going to be in the thick of things, and he won't be so anonymous to Packers fans that are kind of clamoring for Xavier McKinney to wake up and be in plays. It helps to have the ball thrown in your general vicinity, which quarterbacks are not going to be doing when he's that big of a threat.
Right.
But
Exactly.
yeah, I think
Matt LaFleur did say during his media availability this week that him and Halfley, Xavier McKinney and Halfley, have an understanding that McKinney can freelance when he wants to and go down into the box when he wants to, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, not surprised. I mean, he's got that considerable leeway. I believe a captain as well. Am I
I
correct?
believe so. I believe so.
Um, yeah, but he's gonna be in the thick of things, and if we don't want to see what Dallas did to this defense a couple weeks ago, I think Xavier McKinney will help uh, that not happen if he's playing at a level more so consistent to what he was doing last year.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Um, Apropos of nothing, a lot of good games this week in the NFL. I'm excited to like keep an eye on a lot of these just for funsies. Rams, Jaguars in London will be fun. If
Hip hip
Pip,
cheerio.
I think it's in London. I don't know for sure though. Um, Another one is Colts Chargers is it should be a fun game if they
Hip
can
hip
not shut
cheerio.
up. Not in London. Um, Washington Dallas has potential to be fun because I think both those defenses are like
I'm getting sick of seeing Washington. They've been. I mean,
they've
I
been
know the
bad.
Packers play.
Like
They've been
they
bad, but they were on Monday Night Football last week. I know the Packers played them on Thursday Night Football. It's like this is not
well,
the same.
yeah, because they of the run they went on last year, they kind of over
I
leveraged.
know. I
Regardless,
know.
Falcons Niners should be fun. Monday Night Football again. Yes, the NFL is doing that dumb thing where they leverage two games against themselves. Well, not actually. They actually are split this time, but usually they do this. Two really good Monday Night Football games
Seattle, Houston.
is the late one. Bucks Lions is the early one.
Ooh.
That'll be a fun game. That'll be a really fun game. So
Mm.
a lot of good football this week. At least you anticipate or hope so. So
And we got Conclave.
what?
We got Conclave. Packers Cardinals.
What does that mean?
Conclave.
Yeah, the one they try and find the Pope.
Conclave. Have you seen that movie?
The one with the Pope.
Uh,
Where they try and find the
no.
new Pope. Sorry.
There are a bunch of Cardinals
Oh my.
trying to be
Yeah,
the
but
Pope.
what is the pack? What do the Packers have to do with it? Or just because the
I
Packers?
don't know how you don't know these things.
Okay, got it. My bad. I'm sorry. My bad. I I'm the idiot.
I
So,
don't know why you're. Yeah, they're
uh, unless my idiocy doesn't allow me to make it till Sunday, we'll be back here in your podcast feeds after.
score prediction.
Oh, I forgot that part. See what an idiot I am. How can I forget score predictions? You're so earnest and wanting to do it. Why don't you go first?
I'm pardon the analogy, but I'm not seeing red. Um, that was the Cardinals like tagline.
We're gonna come to
But
blows,
I think
dude.
it's I think it's still the
We're gonna
Cardinals
we're
come
gonna we're
first.
gonna come to blows.
um, I think the Packers win. I think I think this is going to be a very similar game to how we've seen it. I'm going to say Packers 27, and I guess the same score as I did last week, so I'm going to do it again. Packers 27, Cardinals 17.
Uh, I also think the Packers ultimately win this game. Doesn't matter who's at quarterback. I'm gonna say the Packers finally break through the 30-point threshold. I should say finally they did it against the Cowboys, but they break it through it in a regular sort of cadence in game. I'm gonna go 31-20 Packers, and that's all I gotta say about that. We'll be back in your podcast feeds. Don't mind my Forrest Gump impression.
Yeah.
We'll be back in your podcast feeds Monday morning, hopefully celebrating Victory Monday. Check out all things GSPN at gspn.info. You can find the link to our Discord in there in the About section. Bucks preseason is now over. They're in that fun in between the end of preseason and the beginning of the regular season, which I believe, if I'm wrong, Jordan, is next Monday.
The
Or
first game?
yeah,
First game is Wednesday night.
this coming Wednesday,
Yeah,
the
this coming Wednesday.
20th or
Yep.
whatever. Not the 20th,
22nd.
22nd. Okay, and that is
Chris
against
Middleton's return.
the Chris Middleton led Washington Wizards.
What a
What a
sentence.
sentence.
Dear
So,
Lord.
Ty and Rohan will be covering all things Milwaukee Bucks this season over at over on Eurostep, but you already know that. So, uh, thank you all for listening. Like I said, we'll be back your podcast feeds Monday morning. We appreciate you. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel at Talk of the Tundra. Would love to get those numbers up. So we'd appreciate it. We appreciate you always. And Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.